Good afternoon everybody and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Ollie and today we're going to be running through the new functionality that's been added in for purchase delivery costs, both from purchase order and purchase invoicing point of view. Okay, if you've got any questions, join her after the session. Myself and Mike will be hanging around for a couple of minutes after the session, but Mike will be on hand all through the session today, so feel free to ask away any questions you may have. Okay, so in the last update you will have seen when you place a purchase order through the system, a new line appears on that purchase order. So basically what that is going to be explained in this webinar today. So effectively, when you click purchase on the order, a new line will be inserted into that purchase order. So in the header of your purchase order, which I'll run through shortly, you've got a delivery cost section. So within there you can actually determine how much it's going to cost you to place this order with your supplier. So if it's like Vow, Spice, Exertis and so on, and they have delivery codes set up, so S for standard delivery, and it's going to cost you £5 unless it's over a certain threshold, you can set those certain things up against the supplier level as well, so it automatically pulls through against your purchase orders. So if I just quickly switch over to my screen, over here, I'll just open up a purchase order. So as you can see now on screen, in this purchase order here, there's this delivery cost section right here. So basically where that's pulled through from is this standard delivery code, which is set against the company level here. So in your company, in your supplier, you've got all your EDI details with your supplier, which is just test information here, and then your delivery codes within here. So you can say, right, my standard delivery, the default for that standard delivery, the code which a supplier can provide to you, and then if there's any cost, free over things, so if it's over £50, it's going to be a free delivery. Those types of things will pull through automatically then to your purchase order. So when that pulls through to your purchase order here, as you can see, that then, when I hit purchase, which has already been done on this example, this line then creates at the bottom. So you then have a stock code of that kind of purchase order delivery, some description, quantity, price, etc. So this information really doesn't mean an awful lot apart from that price is the key part. Okay, so when you send it through, if it's an electronic supplier, they would then feed back in their acknowledgement, and then from there, then that would overwrite any information within here. So if it says they call it standard delivery or they call it whatever it may be in their supplier terms, they would then overwrite the description, overwrite the code. If the price is different, they would also overwrite that as well. So all the information is coming back into your system, and you can say, all right, I thought it was going to be $5.50, but it's free, or it might be something else. Okay, so all that information basically transmit into this new line that's been created in the system. So effectively, before this new release, this delivery cost was managed in the header, and then at purchase invoice level, you have to put that in against your kind of invoice as well. So it's bringing in efficiencies because you can now have this purchase order line, which you can then match to on your purchase invoice, and I'll come on to, I guess, the steps after that as well. So effectively, hit purchase on the order, and what happens now is this new purchase order delivery line, whether it's direct, standard, pick wrap, pre-12, whatever it may be, then generates this line on the purchase order. Okay, so if I just switch back to that first screen I was looking at a moment ago, so this is just some information in terms of what Prima Cloud will do at the purchase stage. So as I just explained there, so when you click purchase, delivery charge line is automatically created and inserts against that order. So it can automatically pull through from the supplier delivery code, so you can go into your Vow, your Spices and whoever, set those codes up, and that pulls through automatically. Otherwise, you can tick the little tick symbol to the right hand side of it and manually overtype that if you wanted to as well. Okay, if the supplier sends back the acknowledgement, all the information overrides, and then you've got your, I guess, true description, true cost, and that sort of thing as well. Okay, so from a purchase invoice point of view, this is the next stage then of these screenshots. What happens with EDI suppliers? Okay, so if the supplier doesn't include a delivery charge on the invoice, Prima will automatically delete the delivery charge from the purchase order. So that way then, the system, or you thought you were going to be charged £5.50, it's not actually been included on the invoice. Prima looks after that side of things for you. If the delivery charge is included, it'll either match automatically to the line on the order, or it'll leave it outside of the tolerance, so it's not matched on the £5.50. They've sent it through actually at £7. The system will leave that outstanding for you then to match and say, oh, actually, I thought it was going to be £5.50. And then from there, that's when you can do, I guess, your querying with your suppliers and see that information as well. On non-EDI suppliers, so if you've got a supplier that doesn't do EDI with Prima, you've got those set up for doing purchasing. When you actually physically create your purchase invoice in the system, that purchase delivery charge inserts as a line onto that invoice. So to show you an example of that one, if I just go back onto the live screen, so this purchase order here, which I prepared earlier, I can now create an invoice for that. So this has been done all manually, by the way, even though it's Vow. This is just a test database and done manually. So let's just pretend this is a manual supplier on your database. So maybe you've sent it through to, I don't know, Premier Paper or something like that. Then from here, what you can do, if you close out of there, you go into invoicing, purchase invoices, as you would do normally for your purchase invoice run, into available lines, and I'm just going to search for that purchase order there. So if I run a search, and I can find that now. So as you've seen on the purchase order, there was 2 lines, which one of the lines was the delivery charge. So now Prima allows you to have delivery charges as a line on the purchase invoice as well as the order. So when I create all lines now, again, as you would do normally with the purchase invoice process, which we've got a webinar dedicated to that purchase invoice, if you want to have a look at that. And then when you come into your purchase invoice, I'll just bang in some test information, hit save. This bit's not really relevant to this webinar, but go into your lines tab. And then from here, then what you've got is the code that you put onto the order, the price, but then you've also got this delivery code and information pulling through as well. So you can see there the S and standard, which is entered in against my supplier for manual orders and delivery codes, then pulls through this £5.55 price onto the invoice. So then from there, then when you're doing your matching of the net, you can say, right, yeah, £35.75 is inclusive of the delivery charge, add all that information in, and away you go. So effectively, this, I guess, changed to purchase delivery cost and updated to the lines on the order makes it more efficient from a purchase invoice point of view, but also, I guess, it keeps it more in line in terms of making sure the charges are all correct and having a clearer view from the purchase invoice point of view what's going on with the charges as well. So if this was an EDI invoice and it's come through, let's pretend that says electronic invoice, it's come through, then on your lines here you'd have your status column there with the 3 X's to say it's not matched. From there then you can look back at the purchase order, actually it's this certain price, this certain code, whatever it may be, the difference, and then you can do your fact finder from there and actually find out, right, well, it should have been £5.55, but it's been invoiced electronically at £10, and then from there you can do your querying with your supplier and get it corrected on your system or their system, whichever it may be. Okay, so not a massive change in the system, but something that will definitely affect dealers in the day-to-day and making it more efficient from, I guess, invoicing point of view, and the purchase order and delivery charge are a bit more clearer as well for our customers as well. So any questions you do have on it, if you're watching this back, email training@primasoftware.co.uk, or any questions if you're watching live, then myself and Mike will be on the live chat. So feel free to ask away. But yeah, thanks for your time today. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.